Good evening, folks. This is Ron Tyler with the Emergency Management Associates coming to you from the great state of Utah in the home of the Mountain West, Salt Lake City. We want to welcome all of you here that are joining us on the Emergency Management Associates program, either right now or who will be joining us at a later delayed broadcast or even later in this broadcast. We want to welcome all of you here with us. We appreciate you joining us. We have been busy today, um, quite busy today, putting together this information for this broadcast uh, on phone calls and doing research, um, talking with different people from all over the world. Got a telephone call from jolly old England, jolly old England today, and we appreciate that. Thank you for calling us, actually. TLO is here. Connie's here. Linda's here. Suji Fujinaga is here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Sheila, Linda Moses. Um, Gosh, it's so good to see all of you here. Thank you for coming to be with us. It has been a day and a half, actually. Um, right before we came on the air, we had been monitoring the coronavirus task force program news conference that they had just before this. Jenny, welcome. Sheila, thank you for joining us. Hello, hello. But we had some information about that that we're going to share with you. We're also going to be talking about the developments with the coronavirus today. Many of the states here across the United States are going to be reopening on a leveled basis, meaning everything's not going to open up right at once. Um, I saw a program with Tucker Carlson on Fox where he interviewed the governor of New Jersey, and he asked him specifically several times. And the governor, bless his heart, refused to answer Tucker Carlson's probing question, mainly what gave the governor or governors the right under United States law to ask people or to force people to shelter in place. The governor refused to answer his question several times, not just once, but several times during the interview that he had with Tucker Carlson. Basically refused. Um, he hemmed and hawed, stretched the truth, went around the bush, um, pardon my French, peeing on the bush, and just never answered the question forthrightly. The truth of the whole matter is there is no rights under the current law, the constitutional law, the Bill of Rights, for a governor to order everybody, you can't leave your house. It's against the law. They can't do that. They did. Um, that's one of the first things I've checked out during the past month or so, is under what law gives them the right to tell us we can't leave our house. It's against the law. People have freedom of movement. People have the freedom to talk. People have the freedom to go out and do what they have to do or want to do, but they can't tell us we can't leave our house. Now, what they did do in many cases, yes, there are a few governors and a few mayors that said you will not leave your house under any circumstances to go shopping, go to the doctor, or do anything. That's what they said. And that is in complete violation of the law. And they've done it. And those mayors should be taken to the woodshed and spanked. Really. Sheila says, Trump just said the people protesting this week have a right to do so. That's right. Now, there have been some people that got arrested. Some people got arrested for going out protesting. This weekend, tomorrow afternoon, they're going to have a protest here in Salt Lake City. in defiance of the mayor's order to not be together at any point in time. Um, they're going to have a protest picnic dinner here at one of the parks in Salt Lake City. And the police said they would not enforce any ban to stop them. True story. He said they would not enforce a ban to stop them from going out and getting together to protest. That's what Salt Lake City police said, because they know for a fact that it would be unlawful to arrest people for doing that, regardless of whether that mayor said to do it or not. That mayor would be taken to the woodshed by the police chief or the governor. The governor did right. Governor Herbert here in the state of Utah did right, asking people to shelter in place. He didn't enforce a ban. Now, the Salt Lake sheriff, the county sheriff, under the color of authority, the mayor of the county. Usually we see county commissioners in various counties throughout the United States. Here, there is a mayor in charge of the county. And through that mayor and the county health department, they instituted a ban on people's movement, telling them they had to shelter in place, number one. Number two, they told them the only places they could go would be to a doctor, to the hospital, to the grocery store to get groceries or essential items to live. And that's just basically it. That was basically what people could do. In our particular case, even though I live out in the far reaches of the South County part of Salt Lake City, or Salt Lake County, excuse me, Salt Lake County. I live in the far south end of the county. Our mayor and the powers that be here in the city of Sandy said that we could go out walking in the parks. We could even play basketball with our members of our own household. We just couldn't engage in games with other neighbors, other friends that were not part of our household. That's how far they took it, how far our city of Sandy took it. But the health department of the county and the mayor of the county could have still instituted enforcement of their bans to not move, not to do anything. Susie Fujinaga, I said this before when I first heard about your son. I'm so sorry to hear about his death, and there's still no cause of death by the autopsy. Now, Susie, and I don't mean to offend you or anybody else, but doctors are being forced to put on death certificates that it was a coronavirus that killed him. Whether it be a heart attack, whether it be a fall, whether it be anything, doctors have been forced, or I shouldn't say just the doctors, but the medical examiners are being forced to put the coronavirus as the cause of death on death certificates. I've heard that from so many doctors. Not if it was just one or two, okay. But I mean, I now have heard it out of the mouths of probably 12 different doctors during the last 2 weeks, saying they're being forced to put the coronavirus as the cause of death on the death certificates. It's just insane. It really is. Let me turn on another light. I'm getting a little bit of shadow on my face. I want you guys to be able to see me. Just a second. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. That's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Anyway, I have some issues with politicians. I always have. And this stems from my working for a politician, and it's gotten worse. A lot of people I can't trust. Pamela Gaspar, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here too. I just don't trust him. Plain out now, don't trust him. It's just like YouTube. I don't trust them. Speaking of which, someone asked me on our chat, not in this particular chat, but on our YouTube questions, comments that they put up, what is shadow banning? Okay, I wanted to read to you the definition of shadow banning. Just a second. Let me pull up that slide here. Okay, that's not it. I've got quite a few slides here. Okay, here it is. This is the definition of shadow banning. Shadow banning is the act of blocking or partially blocking a user or their content from an online community such that it will not be readily apparent to the user that they have been banned. Okay, that's what I put. That was my definition of shadow banning. And yes, that comes from different sources. Okay, people have been asking me how I'm being shadow banned. While I was trying to answer this person, it took me 6 times to answer this question. Why? Because every time I got to a certain point in typing the little paragraph that I did type, every time I got to a certain point, it was gone. Up and gone. I started and finally finished my explanation after having started 6 different times to answer that question about what shadow banning is. That tells me a lot about shadow banning. YouTube did not want anyone to know what shadow banning is. And I don't believe they wanted me to tell the person or anybody else the answer to what is shadow banning and how was my program being shadow banned. First off, one of the reasons I first left YouTube and went to the Freedom Revolution Network.com to produce my program and to go forward with it was that they had censored my program. They had taken parts of my program out of my program, censored it, and only broadcast those parts of the program that they felt were more in accordance with their policies. Yeah, they did. Somebody first pointed that out, and so I went back and checked. And I checked many programs. I spent hours, probably days, researching programs to where I could see that they had censored me. And if my last computer hadn't died, I would be able to go back and show proof because I made clips. I made clips of the program. I know what I said and I know what was actually broadcast, and they had censored it. And actually 2 different cases, you could tell where they had censored it. They had clipped out portions of my program and spliced it together. So that is, in effect, shadow banning as well. Hi, Don, it's good to see you. Don says they've been doing it to him too. But I caught him twice, 2 separate times, going through different programs. I actually pulled the clips showing where they had censored me and then spliced everything back together. They did it. They've done it. Plus, they censor me by buffering our program to you, where the little wheel turns, or the screen goes blank or black, or you lose audio. Yeah, that's called shadow banning. And they have also shut my program off, where I've had to restart it on several occasions. Connie says that they're buffering right now. Or no, she says there's no buffering there. I'm sorry. There's no buffering yet. But what I'm saying is this. That's why I first went to YouTube, or first got off YouTube and went over to the Freedom Revolution Network. Now, since I've gone back and done programs on YouTube, you guys have noticed that they have been buffering my program when I start talking more in depth on the earthquakes and more in depth on the coronavirus. They start buffering, where you guys either can't see the program, can't hear it, or they plain just won't let you see it at all. So they've done it. And Lisa says, Ron, that happens more often this past month. Yes, you're right, Lisa, they have. Since I've tried to come back on YouTube more through this coronavirus and such, yeah, they've done it. Now, whether they want to realize it or not, Facebook has also done it. They have taken one post of mine off my Facebook page and then told me that they've done it. So when I tried to make a complaint against Facebook about it and tried to get my post restored, I went through like 5 or 6 different windows and they kept putting these explanations up, 5 or 6 different windows. And then they finally, during my complaint process, the last window that I got was going, well, we're using AI to consider whether we take a post down or not. So you making a complaint isn't going to stop us from keeping your complaint off your page. Too bad. We don't have the staff because of the coronavirus. We don't have the staff to address any complaints right now. So too bad. You're not going to get your post back. Really? And that's, I think I told you in a past program that that's when I had it up over my head with the Facebook's and YouTube's AI programs. And I'm taking them to task. I've now talked to an attorney twice this week, and I'm going to continue with this program of taking them to court. And Mr. Zuckerberg, if you get a copy of this program, or anybody affiliated with Google and YouTube, if you get a copy of this program and hear my voice, you have a matter of days, maybe a week or so, of trying to make a settlement to keep me from going to court and suing your cotton picking ass. Fact. Because I'm not going to put up with it anymore, and I don't think anybody wants to either. You cannot, under the present laws of the United States, you cannot interfere with somebody's freedom of speech. It's against law. Unless they stop us from talking, where they refuse to let anybody use Google, or they say that I made a threat to hurt somebody or whatever, then they can limit my freedom of speech. But up until now, they can't. And if they do, they're going to get sued. And I'm putting Mr. Zuckerberg on notice on this program today, and I did it the other day, and I'm putting Google YouTube on notice that if you buffer me, if you censor my program, or you keep it from airing, which you have done, I will sue you. I'm going to take you to the woodshed, and I will own you for the rest of your lives. So go ahead, make me an offer. Make me an offer and tell me you're sorry. I might consider an offer, but then again, I might go ahead and sue the cotton picking crap out of you. And yes, BJ, the Justice Department has been telling people, making FOIA requests, they can't do it until the coronavirus is over. Yeah, they've done that. And that, I think, is ridiculous too. And they banned Alex Jones. Yes, and they did. They banned Alex Jones wrongfully. And Alex Jones, I think, is still pursuing a class action lawsuit against him. And I may even go talk to Alex Jones. I don't know. We'll see. But what I'm telling you is that I am one YouTube creator that's one pissed off man, because I want to get the important truth out to people. And it's not just because I think it's important. You folks think it's important as well. I have over 5,000 followers on this channel. I have about 8 other domains that I am being broadcast on. And people want to hear our program. We have probably 100,000 people that are seeing this program. We also have a lot more than that that are part of this program that are politicians and upper management from various cities and counties throughout the United States. They are also getting involved in this program, monitoring and getting information to be able to protect their citizens. Because the information we have here is very much an important part of helping protect America and helping protect citizens of our world worldwide. We have a worldwide following now. When I first started this program, I started it here in Salt Lake City a year and today's the 17th, a year and 2 weeks ago. Year and 2 weeks ago, I started this program. And I started on the premise I wanted to try to save lives through earthquake reporting and earthquake forecasting. And we still do that. And it was only because our friend Dutch said he wasn't going to do it any longer. Now he's come back and he's been doing it occasionally now. But that's why we first started. And people kept asking me to continue, and I have. And because of that, I have now got a worldwide following, all corners of the world. We are probably broadcasting to 140 countries throughout this world, throughout this planet, around the planet. And for that, we are grateful for everybody that watches our program. We've had people from Romania come up in the chat. We've had Marie from Finland come up. We've had people from Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Austria, Australia, Indonesia, Costa Rica, Brazil, Argentina, Chile. We had somebody, I think, from Colombia or Venezuela. We've had numerous people from Mexico, Canada. Numerous people from Canada watch our program. It's literally a worldwide program now. And for that, I'm grateful, because our message is getting out. And because of all of you good people. Gold Run, you included. Gold Run's been a follower of ours for quite some time now. And every time I see you, my friend, I thank God that I met you. I wish you were still here in Salt Lake City. I still would love to meet you and meet all of you. Love to meet all of you. But anyway, now that I've been speaking for about 30 minutes, talking about everything but earthquakes, everything but the coronavirus, I wanted to get back and talk just a little bit about the coronavirus. We have touched a little bit on it. Most of the United States, except for 3 states, I think, where they haven't had but maybe 1 case of the coronavirus in one of those 3 states. Everybody else has been touched in some manner or fact with the coronavirus. And for that, I'm sorry. Whether you've been sick or you've lost loved ones, I am very sorry for that. But I have said this and I'll say it again. The coronavirus is not as bad as they have made it out to be. Yes, people have died. Yes, people have gotten sick. But the numbers aren't there, one, to say it is a pandemic. Number two, the numbers aren't any worse than any other flu outbreak in our history. And I've gone back and verified that. When somebody about 3 weeks ago was saying that, I went and checked, and they were absolutely right. The numbers only point to the fact that this is no more than a regular flu outbreak. It has not killed any more people than a normal flu outbreak has. When we talked about tuberculosis a couple of weeks ago, the outbreak of tuberculosis here in the United States in 2017, 3 years ago, was no worse than this flu virus. And this flu virus has not killed as many people as the tuberculosis outbreak in 2017 here in the United States. So what I'm saying is they've blown these numbers way out of proportion to get us to shelter in place voluntarily, like sheeple. We've done like we were told. And now Don says, now starts the buffering. See, whenever they don't want people to hear what we're saying, that's when the buffering starts. But the numbers aren't there. The numbers flat out are not there. And they can say whatever they want, but they're wrong. Lisa says she just saw the Stanford study saying that the coronavirus is overreported. You're absolutely right. The doctors have been told to report everything as a coronavirus, whether it was or not. People that have broken their arms, oh, it was caused by the coronavirus. People that have died of a heart attack, oh, it was caused by the coronavirus. On and on and on. It's incredible. It's incredible. Scooter Pie, thank you for joining us. Better late than never. Scooter Pie, I appreciate you. I really do. I appreciate you all being here. You guys are great. I keep saying that, but it's true. TLO, um, I'm so grateful for TLO too. He's been with us for quite some time. He's a faithful follower. He's sent us information, given us information. I've talked to him personally. He's so cool. I'm glad that we have him on the air with us. Um, it's just a great privilege to have all of you here. Anyway, the coronavirus is going to be with us for a while. And just like every other seasonal flu outbreak, come next fall, we're probably going to see an outbreak of the coronavirus again, and they're going to try to get us to shelter in place. And I'm hoping that doesn't happen because, like I said, it's overinflated. They want to scare people. They, you know, someone told me over on Facebook that I was scaring people. I think I've been told that here in our chat room, that I am scaring people. You know, I'm only reporting what is out there. I don't want to scare anybody. My whole premise for telling you anything here is to give you the information for you to be able to make decisions in your own lives, in your own family's lives, to be able to save lives, period. That's my only motivation. It really is. It doesn't make any sense at all for me to be buffered, our message to be buffered. Sheila Owen said Lisa Havens got their number. Yes, she does. Somebody told me earlier that Lisa Haven is kind of a kook. And some of her reporting's out there. Yes, some of her reporting is out there. You're absolutely right, it is. But quite honestly, she's got the evidence, folks. I've seen the evidence. And she gets on early in the morning and nails people's butts to the tree. And yes, Linda, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is get everybody to be prepared. That's my only motivation. Really. It's my only motivation. I just want people to be prepared, and I'm going to do whatever I can to that end. And if the powers that be don't like it, I'm sorry, they can go hook up someplace else. They could. Um, yes, you can cook for Scarlett and her family. She would love that. She would love that. One of these days I will. One of these days I will. I'm hoping. But there's a certain point in time in our lives where people that interfere in our lives and in our process of thinking, they do it to an extent where it's to their own detriment. And in this case, that's exactly what's happened. It's bit them in the proverbial ass. Excuse my French. It's not French, it's English. But it's the truth. It's come to bite them in the ass, and now they're having to backpedal to cover their butts. And I hope that President Trump or somebody else sues the shit out of them. Okay? Including that stupid country of China. And China's responsible. And then the left-wing media says, oh, President Trump's a racist. No, media, you are the racist. You are the trouble causers. You are the Nazis. You are the communists. And like I said, people ought to be taken to Gitmo and beat the crap out of and put in front of a firing squad or a gallows and hung on the Washington Mall. And I'm hoping Trump does that. I really am. Laura says, Ron, something else is going on. I think President Trump knows, and for whatever reason, thinks it's safer for us to be home until it's over, whatever the reason is. That's possibly true to a certain extent. I think now he's trying to get us out from under it on a gradual basis to try to save somebody's butts, to try to save face, if you will. That's what I personally think. Now, speaking of President Trump, yesterday, President Trump, the T-Man, did something to protect this entire country. He dissolved the Fed, the federal bank. The federal bank no longer exists. The work that the Fed was doing has been consolidated under the Treasury Department. So all that money that the Fed was hiding from us, all that money that was being stolen by the Fed is now in control of our Treasury Department. The Fed can't continue to steal money from us. The people that were doing it are going to be hung. They're going to be hung. Hancock says they need to be hung for treason. Absolutely. And he could do that. He's fired the head of the Fed and all the people that were in the Fed. They're gone. They're toast. The president has fired them and closed down the Fed. So now all that interest rate that we were paying the Fed is gone. Is gone. Who is audited the Fed? Our Justice Department audited the Fed. Okay, you can go back and look at it. Lisa asks, is the Treasury Department any better? It could be worse. I don't think it's any better, but it could be a lot worse than what the Fed was. And I don't believe it is. Okay. But now the president has control of the money. President Trump now has control of the money. And there's not a damn thing that anybody can do about it. The president of the United States is president, period. People wanted to say until a few days ago that, oh, FEMA's now in charge of the United States. Hell, we're all going to hell. We're all going to FEMA camps. Bullshit. FEMA doesn't have control of shit. Fact, and I'm sorry I'm swearing again. FEMA doesn't have control of anything except trying to help people that are hurt. FEMA was asked to help out during this coronavirus to help make sure people got the health care that they needed. That's the only reason. That is the only reason that FEMA was put in charge of it. Who put them in charge of it? The president. The president's in charge of this government, not FEMA or anyone else. Don, is this a repeal of 1913? I don't know. But I'm telling you, the president of the United States is in charge, not FEMA or anybody else. British Columbia, Canada on downward curve for the virus. Yep, it's been looking like that for a few weeks now. Absolutely, Scooter Pie. If I'm not mistaken, you've been monitoring the neighbors to the north, and so have I. I have been watching the briefings every morning from Vancouver. I've been watching them from Saskatchewan. I've been watching them from what's that province right above us? Just to the north of Utah and Idaho. Alberta. I've been watching from Alberta. I've been watching from Quebec. I've been watching the federal government from Toronto. I've been monitoring all the news conferences here in the United States, everywhere. I've even monitored state news conferences, not just coming from Utah. And yes, I've been monitoring probably 90% of the broadcasts from Utah from Governor Herbert. He would laugh if I called him President Herbert. I met him, I believe it was last year or the year before. It's been a while since I've seen him. But Governor Herbert's a good old boy. He's a nice guy. Really nice guy. Angelia is asking, isn't the FDIC Federal Deposit Insurance from the federal bank? I believe they are. But if you didn't know, about 10 or 15 years ago, the FDIC no longer could insure any of the banks. They didn't have the money to do it. If you lost your money in your bank, your money was not insured by the FDIC. The FDIC has been basically bankrupt for quite some time. It's just that they never let anybody know that. Okay? So it's kind of ironic that the Fed itself is gone. And if I'm not mistaken, the FDIC was part of that. They are gone. So they're the ones that screwed up. Okay? It's crazy. So anyway, that's what's going on with that. Now, while doing research today, not only did I look into shadow banning and such, but I found out a bunch of other information. And I'm going to let you in on that in just a second as soon as I find it. Okay. I wanted to show you that there are areas where the Northern California Earthquake Data Center has been collecting data on earthquakes. And it just wasn't from California. It's from all over the place. I'm going to show you this. Look at this, folks. Look at this. This shows the location of earthquake monitoring stations from the Northern California Earthquake Data Center. Okay, look how far up that they go in monitoring the earthquake data. All the way up here in the Puget Sound, all the way over here into Montana. I didn't think that a California agency that, by the way, this is affiliated with Berkeley, University of Berkeley, but I didn't understand until just today, this afternoon, that they monitored earthquake seismic stations literally all over the Western United States, from the Puget Sound over to Montana and all the way down into Utah, all the way down into Southern California. And if you'll look at this, this is Alaska. Down here at the bottom of this graphic, they monitor Alaska and they monitor over to the big island of Hawaii. Look at the seismic instruments all over from the west coast to the east coast of Hawaii. Unreal. I did not realize this. I had no idea that they were monitoring not just California, but all over the Western United States. Now, this whole page here is the Northern California Earthquake Data Center, and they are trying to explain to you everything that they do here. Okay, they have over 2,338 seismic data stations that they monitor. Nevada seismograms. Nevada, go figure. You know, PG&E seismograms, I can understand that. Okay, but I never understood that they monitored literally all over the Western United States, including Alaska and Hawaii. Okay, this is a good page if you guys are interested in pulling information. Okay, they have a Parkfield high resolution seismic data network. Why? Because Parkfield, California is the earthquake capital of California. The San Andreas Fault goes right through Parkfield. And I think maybe even next week, if we find we have time, I'm going to show you some slides from Parkfield, California, showing you how the San Andreas Fault has altered the look of Parkfield over the years. And I think then you'll understand exactly why they call Parkfield the earthquake capital of California. It's fabulous. It really is. And I'm going to go back here and I'm going to monitor this page as well. Electromagnetic data, GPS, geysers seismic data. The geysers, remember that place called the geysers over in Northern California, where they pull steam out of the Clear Lake volcano to turn turbines to run power for 4 different power companies? Guess what? These guys monitor that. Unreal. Remember when we talked about low frequency data that causes earthquakes? Guess what? They're monitoring that. USGS low frequency data. They're monitoring that. Earthquake catalogs. Data quality control. They got it here. They've got it here. This is an awesome article. This is an awesome article. I encourage you to take a look at it too. Okay? It's incredible. Completely incredible. There's a couple other things I wanted to show you as well. let me try to find this information because I'm literally taken aback because it's great information. It's so cool. It is so cool. The next slide I'm going to show you is going to be interesting. I promise you. Okay, this is a Twitter broadcast from the Berkeley Seismolab. Okay, look at this motion sensor ball. Okay, this is over at just east of Mono Lake. Okay, remember that earthquake that we had here just about a week or so ago? Remember that 5.1 out here in the desert? They're monitoring this. Berkeley's monitoring this. This moment tensor ball is from April 11th. Location and faulting mechanism for that morning's 5.2 earthquake on April 11th, just 6 days ago. The motion, the earthquake plate motion, came from the Pacific Northwest and went southeast. From northwest to southeast. Now, what does that tell you? Okay, remember when this earthquake happened, and right before that, the earthquake happened over in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park in northeast San Diego County? Moment tensor ball shows the power coming out of the Pacific Northwest and headed southeast. Okay, remember the North American continent is being pushed west over the Pacific plate? Remember that? The pressure is coming from the Pacific Southwest, coming from the Northwest, going southeast. That completely jives with what Terry has told us. That completely jives with everything that I have studied. And this earthquake proves it. The tension, the pressure, seismic energy, whatever you want to call it, came from the northwest pushing southeast. This is a great slide. This is a great slide. I love it. There's a lot of good things here too that I found too. USGS Shake Alert Earthquake Early Warning System created an alert for the 5.2 earthquake in California, Nevada border this morning on April 11th. It took a little longer to detect this quake as we have fewer stations in this area. USGS admitted to not having many stations. Why? Bodie Crater out there, folks. Bodie Crater, just over by Mono Lake. And Mono Lake is a volcano. Why would USGS not have sensors out there? Go figure. That makes another question we can follow up on. Just one more question we can follow up on. Why? Okay. There's the tensor ball, folks. Again, coming out of the northwest, headed southeast. There's Mono Lake. There's the summit of the volcano sitting there as an island. It's called Paoa Island, P-A-O-H-A, Paoa Island. This whole lake is a crater. And in the middle of it is the summit of the volcano. Okay? Just so you know. Anyway, this talks about the Berkeley Seismic Lab. These are all Twitter feeds coming out of the Berkeley Seismolab. So I wanted to show you that. Very interesting information. Very, very interesting information. Now, there's some more information out here that I'm going to pull. All right, before we get any further into earthquakes, I wanted to talk to you one more thing, and I've forgotten about this until just now, so if you guys will forgive me, I'm going to continue this, okay? I'll continue this. It's already 7:08. Holy cats, how time flies. Time is just flying. Unreal. That's incredible. Anyway, I'm going to show you this. So you guys just bear with me for a quick second. In talking with the coronavirus, I think this is very important to know so you can at least be able to talk intelligently with your kids and try to explain it to them on their level. Children don't understand what is going on. They don't. I don't think my 18-year-old son totally understands. And yes, he's developmentally disabled. However, there are kids younger than him, whether they're disabled or for whatever the case, they don't understand. I wanted to give you this information, and I wish we would have this information before now. 8 tips about talking with your kids about COVID-19. It's hard to decide whether ignorance is bliss applies to this current situation. It's a difficult time for all of us, and it's tough to imagine how it might feel to be in the dark the entire time. In any one case, surely our own children have questions about the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and it can be tricky to know what to say. On one hand, we are in the dark as much as they are most of the time, especially in everything that you and I have discussed, that we all have discussed. Our kids are in the dark. We don't know what to say about it sometimes. And on one hand, they don't need to have all the details. Even us adults don't know all the details. But on the other hand, you might want to do something so that you can help your child stay optimistic and strong. Okay, that's the other issue with all this, is we need to keep our kids as optimistic and strong as possible, which means we adults, us parents and grandparents, have the obligation to get to know the facts. And that's one reason why we talk about it. Okay? Honestly, there are no right answers because the people in charge have chosen to hide the information in a lot of cases. But you can still learn a lot of information from the experts. Right below here, and this is a blog called blog.giddeup.io, 8 tips kids COVID-19. Okay, don't be afraid to discuss the coronavirus. Okay, this is one child's description of the coronavirus, and it's pretty good. We've all seen pictures of what the coronavirus molecule looks like. And the reason they call it coronavirus, it looks like a crown around the virus cell. That's why they call it the coronavirus. By now, most children are aware that something is happening, and they're likely familiar with the coronavirus to some degree. Staying silent or ignoring the situation could cause our children to be more worried. So experts recommend sticking to the facts and setting the emotional tone ourselves. You take on the news and you're the person who filters the news to your children, explains Janine Dominguez, a PhD, a child psychologist at the Child Mind Institute. Focus on the positives and do your best to find fact-based information. She suggests to check out this Center for Disease Control website for reliable information about COVID-19. Well, quite honestly, I go there and I'm frustrated and I get angry, and so I go search it out on my own. And there's a lot of information you can find that's truthful and it's to the point. You don't necessarily have to go to the CDC. Second, listen to your child for cues. Remember, you don't have to do all the talking. Paying attention to questions can help you decide what you need to discuss with your children and what you don't. You don't want to prompt scientific questions, but instead ask your child about what they've already heard. Don't worry if you don't have all the answers. I don't have all the answers, and I go searching for it day after day. I don't think anybody has all the answers except the powers that be, and they don't want us to know those answers. Okay? Don't go overboard. Stick to your child's level of understanding. Okay? That's the most important thing. Stick to your child's own level of understanding. Our granddaughter doesn't know what's going on, but I'm sure she can feel it. She doesn't understand it. So we try to help her and say, you know something, grandma and grandpa are trying to help you, and we're going to do our best for you, and we love you, and we want only the best for you. And we love her and talk with her and give her books, and we read to her and sing with her, play music for her, and that helps dispel her anxieties. And that can be something that each one of you could do to help your children and grandchildren understand and cope with what is being thrust upon all of us. Our lives has completely changed in the last 2 months, 3 months even. Um, the uh, the mainstream media wants to blame us and condemn the president and everything else. Nancy Pelosi is now saying that the president knew about all this since February 2nd and that she's done her best since February 2nd to dispel everything and to try to keep the nation on an even keel. No, no. If you watched Hannity and several other programs the last couple days, only thing Nancy Pelosi was uh, going after was to try to impeach the president on February 2nd. She had no desire to know anything about the coronavirus. The president wasn't that concerned. He was working on it, but that's all. The only reason he was working on it, he was monitoring what was going on in China because China wasn't telling us everything. So, we have to keep our own anxieties in check to be able to help our children. But we have to keep trying to get more and more information to help ourselves. Okay? Don't have to rely on these politicians because these politicians aren't going to tell us the truth anyway. But keep our own anxieties separate from our children. They don't need to know everything. The older they get, yes, they do. But young children, they don't need to be thrust into this crap, this huge boiling stew. Stay focused on what you can do. Kids feel empowered when they know what to do to keep themselves safe, and we can teach them that. Okay? Even better, your child will be excited to participate, and they'll be more likely to stay safe themselves. And you can even have fun with your own new routines, such as singing songs like we do, washing our hands, teaching our granddaughter how to sing. And she does try to sing. She can't quite speak more than a handful of words right now. 18 months old, and she's trying to already talk, and that's great. But we sing songs with her about washing her hands and singing songs about all sorts of fun things. And she thinks it's fun. That's what we need to do with our kids. If your child is worried about their health, reassure them. If your child is sick, reassure them that we love them and we're doing our best to try to make them better and feel good. Okay? That's what our focus should be on, trying to make our child feel better and trying to reassure them that we're doing our best to make sure they get better. 7, follow your normal routines. There's no doubt that the virus is disrupting normal life, but experts suggest you should stick to your routine the best as you can, even if it involves creating a new temporary routine, which is what we've done in our home too. We don't like uncertainty, and neither do our kids. So staying rooted in routines and predictability is going to be helpful to help our children. That is even more critical if our child's school is closed, which they all are now. Our kids need some structure to replace it. Our 18-year-old son is still in school. and he has homework that he's doing now on a daily basis. And the day before yesterday, he told us the teacher had sent home more homework to us to do with him, and he wanted to complete it one day so he could do whatever he wants the rest of the time. And I applauded that. But we said, you don't have to do it all right now. It doesn't have to be done tonight. He goes, the sooner I get it done, the more time I have to do whatever I want to do. And it's true. But maybe one trick here is like they explain here in this article. One trick is to treat it like summer vacation. What would you normally do to keep the kids occupied? Add a touch of education, and you have the makings of a fulfilling new routine. Okay, that's important. The last thing they talk about here is stay in communication. Not only should we be acting as a filter for our children, we should also accept the fact that keeping that filter going, letting our children know that we're watching for updates and we will keep them informed, we'll keep them in the loop. This doctor recommends saying something like, even though we don't have the answers to everything right now, please know that once we do know more, mom and dad will let you know as soon as possible too. Okay? So what do you think? How have your own children been reacting to the situation that we've been thrust into? Do they love it? Do they hate it? Are they somewhere in the middle? Are they intrigued? Okay. What is our reaction? Okay. There are 5 votes. 60% said love it. 0% said, don't know. 40% are intrigued. 0% are excited. Really? 0% are angry. 0% are sad. That says something too. Okay, let's go back to earthquakes. Okay, that's the last you're going to hear from me about the coronavirus tonight. Promise. Promise. Let's go over to seismograms. I told you that we were going to look at heliographs and seismograms tonight, and that's exactly what we're going to do. Okay, let's go over to GSN heliplots, HELIPLOTS. You can go over to earthquakes.us.gov/monitoring/virtual_network equals GSN heliplots. Okay. We are going to show you several heliplots here because they're important. Okay. Okay. First off, Panama. We have been seeing earthquakes down in Central America and over even to the east of the Honduras. Remember that 6.0 first came out at 6.3, and then they altered it, downgraded it. We've been working on that as well. Here in the Grand Turk Islands, okay, the Caicos Islands, Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, okay, we see these seismograms there. The earth is constantly moving. Over in the Caribbean and the Gulf of Mexico, what do we have? We have the Cayman Islands Ridge, the Cayman Ridge. And that is causing a lot of earthquakes. That's causing a lot of consternation over in the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean, okay? So we've been monitoring that. Here in Jamaica, remember that 6.6 and the 7.7 we had over near Jamaica a couple of months ago? As you can see, the seismogram shows that we're still having earthquakes over there. The Dominican Republic, we have been seeing earthquakes in the Dominican Republic as of late. Okay, so we're watching this. Okay, the Honduras one, there's no data available because they don't want us to see what's going on in the Honduras. Again, there was a 6.0 earthquake and probably larger than that. Okay, I went over on the seismogram and looked at it. I looked at the back seismologist study page. It was a larger earthquake than a 6.0. Okay. But again, on this particular seismogram, they don't want us to see that. We have a seismogram from Beijing, China. We know for a fact that there are earthquakes over there and they're not reporting it to us. And we have many seismograms here that show that we're having earthquakes over there and they're not reporting to us. Here in Hainan province, China, we can see this earthquake. This was probably a 4-pointer, a 4.0. And then it lasted for how long? Look at this. Look at the lasting effects of this earthquake. That says that this earthquake was pretty good, okay? Pretty powerful. Here is one in Alaska today, okay? This one started yesterday and it continued into today. Okay, there was one here that I'm looking for. This one is in Bermuda, like I said, the Caribbean. We know they're having earthquakes. Let's see, here's one in Missouri. Okay, people have been asking about the New Madrid Fault. Here's one in Missouri, and it shows that they're having 1s and 2s over there in Missouri. New Madrid is getting hit. College Outpost over in central Alaska. See this earthquake? It's one that's not being reported because they don't want us knowing about it. They don't want us knowing about it. Oregon. We showed you earthquakes last night over in Oregon. This is an example of those earthquakes. 1s and 2s over in Oregon. The Philippines. We've seen earthquakes in the Philippines. This is one over in Australia, Charters Tower, Australia. Florida. We don't see too much going on in Florida. This seismogram, this sensor is over at the Disney Wilderness Preserve in Florida. And you see there's seismic activity over in Florida. Okay. This one is over to the right, is over in Tonga, Ethiopia, Germany. They don't have it here. Mariana Islands, the Northern Mariana Islands over by Guam. We know that they've been having earthquakes. This is one example here. Texas, Hockley, Texas, I'm sorry. Hockley, Texas, we've seen the earthquakes happening there. Right now, all we have is 1s and 2s. Solomon Islands, we've seen the earthquakes there. Korea, this is one of the Korean missile launches. Northern Korea missile launch here. This is recorded by a seismic device in Incheon, Northern Korea. Let's see, there was one other one here. Let me scroll through here. Let's see. This is the Canary Islands off of Northern Africa. There was another one here. I don't remember where it was here. So if you guys will just bear with me for a second. I'm looking. This is in Brazil. We don't get to see, and they don't talk about this, and I don't know why Brazil doesn't tell us about stuff, but this is like a 2.8 to a 3.0 magnitude earthquake over in Brazil. Okay, and they don't tell us about anything coming out of there for some reason. We rarely ever get to see anything that happens in Brazil. Black Hills, South Dakota. There is some movement out there. Why? It's a geological data field. but they don't have many instruments out in South Dakota. Don't know why, but they don't. Let's see here. Here's Puerto Rico. We know for a fact what's going on in Puerto Rico. We see it. And this is just one device that lets us know what's going on in Puerto Rico. Oh, by the way, Greenland had an earthquake, and we'll be talking about that in just a few minutes. Greenland had an earthquake. Baja California. We've seen activity in Baja. We know for a fact there's activity in New Zealand. Let's see here. This is in Taiwan. They had that earthquake just south of Taiwan yesterday, and that's what you're seeing right here. This is in Mongolia, China. Around this particular instrument is over just north of India, over there in Mongolia, China. And we don't hear much about coming out of China, but we saw that earthquake coming. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was a 3.9 magnitude earthquake over there in Mongolia. Here's Tucson, Arizona. We usually don't hear or see much out of Arizona, but this is just minor earthquakes rumbling below the area of Tucson. Stuff is happening. Everywhere there's going to be an earthquake of some kind. Let's see. Oh, this is it. Waverly, Tennessee. Okay, we showed you Missouri just a little while ago. This is up in northern Tennessee. And again, it shows us we have minor quakes at the north end of the New Madrid Fault. They're happening. There's ones and twos all the darn time. Sometimes we'll even see a 3. Now, I will tell you right now, if we start seeing a series of 3s, I will be all over the New Madrid Fault. This is one of my babies because I've studied it. If something happens on the New Madrid, I will get on the air and tell you. Why? Because the New Madrid, once it gets going, anything over a 3, people need to start working out their plans over there, because they're going to have some serious issues over in the New Madrid area. Okay, so now we've talked about that. Okay, there's one other place that I want to talk about, and that is over here in California again. Okay, these are the current seismograms for Northern California. Okay, this one is out of Berkeley itself. You can see the magma movement. You can see the magma movement beneath Berkeley. It isn't wild like other places in California are, but you can see it. Where's Berkeley located? Over by San Francisco. Over by San Francisco. Okay. This is Humboldt County. Humboldt County. You can see the magma movement there. Okay. Humboldt County is one place that we still need to keep a good eye on. We still must keep a good eye on, because when we see Humboldt County moving, all of Northern California is going to move with it. Okay, that's a fact. Let's see here. Again, we have one at Berkeley. You can see the magma movement here on the left, Berkeley, California. Sonoma. This is over by the geysers. Pretty much normal. Pretty much normal. We have magma movement, and you can see it. Okay, this is Marina, California. Marina, California. You can see the magma forces on this seismogram. And it's pretty telling what's going on in Marina, California. Okay. Now you may wonder where Marina, California is. You can look up this seismogram. You can find it at NCEDC, Northern California Earthquake Data Center.org, BDSN QuickBook HTML. Okay, where is Marina, California? Berkeley map here. Okay, there's where Marina, California is. Just so you know, it's over by San Francisco Bay. It's over by San Francisco Bay. Now, we've shown you what is over in San Francisco Bay, right? We're going to go down here to Twitchell. I want to show you Twitchell. Okay, here we go. Twitchell Island. Look at this, folks. It's a shaking. It's a shaking. Tons of magma movement at Twitchell Island. Tons of magma movement at Twitchell. Now, you all wonder where Twitchell Island is? Let's go down here and click on see where Twitchell Island is. Okay. You know where Antioch, California is? Walnut Grove. Okay. Antioch, Bethel Island, Collinsville, Concord, Walnut Creek, inland San Francisco. Inland San Francisco. Okay, inland San Francisco. Concord, California. Okay, you see where San Francisco is? This is inland. This is Twitchell Island. Look at the magma movement at Twitchell. If you saw what happened at Berkeley, we showed you two different seismograms at Berkeley. This is Twitchell Island, just northeast of San Francisco Bay. You can see the magma movement here. There's no doubt what's going on here. I wanted to go back up here and I wanted to show you. Okay, here's Petrolia, Humboldt County. Okay, this is the area, Petrolia, California, at the Gorda Escarpment, Northern California at the Gorda Escarpment that intersects with the Cascadia subduction zone. Okay, the Triple Junction area. This is Humboldt County, Petrolia, California area. Okay, then there's one here, Mendocino, that I wanted to look at here. There it is. This is inland. This is east of Petrolia, California, Mendocino County. Look at the magma movement here. Look at this. Isn't that something? We just looked at Petrolia. We just looked at Petrolia, and now we look inland. We look east from Petrolia, and we see the magma movement here. Increased magma movement from the coast going inland. It's incredible, folks. It's literally incredible. Okay. I hope that helps you. I hope that helps. That's a lot. That's a ton. That's a ton. I told you we would be talking about it. Victoria, it's good to see you. BJ, it's good to see you too. Yes, BJ has it right. The line colors show you how you can follow a line of activity. Okay? You can know where it starts and know where it ends and how it continues. Okay? From one start of an hour to the next. And some of these seismograms will go every 15 minutes. Others will go every half hour. Okay. And you can tell what is the hour and what is the half hour. It's the different colors. Okay. That's how you can read it. Okay. Each line begins either a different hour or ends at a different hour. But depending on the seismogram, it might go every 15 minutes or every 30 minutes. Some of those seismograms at the GSN heliplot go every hour. There's 24 lines for 24 hours. Okay. The one in Berkeley, you guys wanted the one in Berkeley, just a second, I will get that for you. I will get that for you. Okay, I'll put it in the, I will put it in the chat so you guys can have that. And thank you for asking me. Here's the link for the Berkeley seismos. Or actually, that was GSN, I'm sorry. That was GSN. Here's the one, here's the other one. No, that's the same one, okay. Did you guys want the GSN as well? I can give you that. Here's the GSN helipods. There you go. So you guys have it. It's actually pretty valuable information. Everybody ought to be able to do this. Everybody should be able to do this and have the information at your fingertips. If something happens, why not know about it? Why not know about it? Okay. I think it's vital. That's my own opinion. Yes, you and I talk about this. Every day we talk about it. But I think everybody ought to be able to have the information. Okay. Now, typically, I would spend a lot of time going over every earthquake that happened today. I will go down here to the South Pacific. This is very interesting phenomena because USGS rarely ever talks about New Zealand, but it's been quiet today, unusually quiet. But USGS is reporting 67 earthquakes on this map. But there's no major earthquakes on this map today. These are all either moderate or mid-range small earthquakes that they're reporting. But they're reporting them, 67 of them. Down here in New Zealand, Turungai, New Zealand, a 4.1. Okay, look at this. You guys want to know where this is? This is at Taupo volcano. This is at Taupo volcano. That might be why USGS is showing this, because this is the one volcano that we don't want to have blow. This would kill off probably 1 million people in New Zealand if this were to blow. Now we have had some activity around it. We've had upwards of a 3 or 3s and 4s around this volcano. Today it's a 4.1, 31 kilometers east of Turangi, New Zealand. What does that work out in miles? About 18 miles. 18 miles east of Turangi, New Zealand. But the volcano is right here where you see my cursor. This is just east of the volcano. East of the volcano. In fact, let me show you. I will get I'll get the map. The other map that we use is the ESM or EMSC map that the European agency provides us. Okay, unfortunately, USGS doesn't show us all the earthquakes over in New Zealand. This is what we have here. Actually, USGS is just showing one earthquake. One earthquake. And it doesn't look like the EMSC is going to show us this earthquake. Isn't that interesting? Wow, this is wild. Usually the EMSC will show us every earthquake, and they're not. Over in the North Island, New Zealand, there's 2 earthquakes that the EMSC is showing us. One is a 2.29 over central western New Zealand, and the other one is a 2.22. Let me turn off this map real quick and I'll show you this. Okay, they're not even showing us that earthquake over here. Okay, the nearest earthquake they're showing us is over on the eastern side of New Zealand, the North Island, and it's a 2.4. They're not even showing that earthquake right here at Topo Volcano. That is so wild. Excuse me, folks, I'm gonna raise up my microphone a little bit because I don't want to hit it. It's still doing a good job for us. Okay, I'm going to zoom in on this volcano. That's Topo Volcano. Okay, that's Topo Volcano. It's a great big huge lake. Great big huge lake over there. Great big huge lake. And it's right there in central North Island, New Zealand. But it's interesting how USGS would show us that earthquake and the EMSC is not going to show it to us. But anyway, that was a 4.1 there in New Zealand today. Okay, now they're showing us only a minor earthquake, well, minor. It's a 4.5 over in Papua New Guinea. They're also showing us this one over in Micronesia today, 4.6. And over here in Northern Mariana Islands, another 4.6. Over in Japan, Northern Japan, Rumoi, Japan. Okay, this is over on the northwest island of Hokkaido. Hokkaido right there. The Kuril Islands between Japan and in Kamchatka, Russia, we've had 3 earthquakes, 4.2, a 4.4, and a 4.6. This is the most earthquakes I've seen in the Kuril Islands in a long, long time. Usually they have 1, sometimes 2 earthquakes, but never 3. This is almost a historic day. We just don't see it. Over here in the Aleutian Islands, folks, Seismopokanoi Island, there's a volcano over here. A volcano. This one is 24 kilometers, about 15 miles, 16 miles west-northwest of Seismopokanoi, or Semisopokoni. There's a volcano here. It's right here. Right here, 4.8. So we have offshore over here, we have a 4.0. There's a 4.8 here. Okay. And it's right there near the volcano. Okay. And there, right now, we're not under any kind of alert for a volcanic eruption there at Semisopokoni. But it could happen. 2 moderate earthquakes at Semisopokoni. Okay. Try to say that. If you looked at that word, Semisopokoni, what would you think? It took me studying that word and hearing it said a million times before I understood what that, or how that was even pronounced. Okay. Now, again, we don't hear a lot of what else is going on because USGS doesn't want to show us. Okay. I'm going to exit that map so I can show you what really went on today. This is down in Indonesia. Okay. Indonesia. They're not going to say anything, are they? Over in the Indian Ocean today, we had a large earthquake there today. It was in the mid-Indian Ridge. This is the 2nd earthquake here in the past week. This is a 5.7 magnitude quake in the middle of the Indian Ocean today. A 5.7. Didn't do any damage. It was out in the middle of the ocean, but it was in the middle of the mid-Indian Ridge. Okay. That's a good picture. That's a good picture. Because up here we have India, we've got China up here. 9 earthquakes up here. Okay. Afghanistan, 4.2, 4.1, 3.7. We have 2 4s and a 3.7, Afghanistan. Dropping down here to Jammu and Kashmir. Jammu and Kashmir, northern India. We have a 3.4. 3.4. Here's a 4.8. 3.4, 4.8 right there. And just south of there in India, in what they call Laddu, India, we have a 2.6 there. So we have some 4s, and then coming down here, a 2.6 right there in northern India. Okay. Going further north in Kazakhstan, we have a 3.6 and a 4.1 in Kazakhstan. Interesting, huh? Going over here into Turkey, actually Iran, going into Turkey. Iran, we've had 3 earthquakes over here in eastern Turkey. We've had quite a few earthquakes, eastern Turkey, western Turkey, going over to Greece. Okay, western Turkey going into Greece. Greece is stepping up, folks. Greece is stepping up. Look at all the earthquakes in Greece. Looks like it's going crazy, huh? But Athens, nothing going on in Athens. This is in central Greece. Okay, and look where it is. The Aegean Sea, folks. The Aegean Sea here. It's a craton. It's the craton there. And folks, 0.9 Patras, 0.20. They're all minor. They're all minor going through the craton edge there, Aegean Sea. Over into Sicily, we have a 2.30. Southern Italy, in the toe of the boot, we have a 2.0. Now we need to be reminded that Etna and Stromboli are still working out there. They're still active volcanoes over here in Sicily and southern Italy. Okay, 2 volcanoes there, still active. Central Italy, Abruzzo, Italy, a 2.7. Over here in what they call Castello dei Maltese, Campania, Italy, we have a 2.0. It's fairly quiet here. Going over into Slovenia, 0.6. Then we have 2 earthquakes over here. We haven't had much of anything in France for at least a month, maybe 2. Today we have a 2.4 in central France. 2.4, and I'm going to try to pronounce this, La Wantisenau. La Wantisenau, EST France, a 2.4. And I know I butchered it. Over here in the south of France near Switzerland, we have a 1.1. 1.1 there. We don't have any other earthquakes until we get down into Spain, and that's when they start rocking. Over here on the eastern part of Spain, northeastern part of Spain, we have a 2.3. Over here in Portugal area, we have a 2.1 and a 2.3. This one is in Spain. This is a 2.3 in Portugal. And they're all in the south after that. Over San Vicente, or Cabo de San Vicente, Azores, a 2.8 and a 3.0. 2.8 and a 3.0 in the southern Azores. In the south part of Spain, we have 1.0s, 2.2s, 1.7, 1.9, et cetera, et cetera. Just ones and 1, 2. And there's a 2 right there. So it's quiet, basically. Over in the Canary Islands, we have a 1.80 magnitude earthquake in the Canary Islands. Okay, now we've got 3 minutes to cover the rest of the, well, before we leave the Atlantic here, Reykjanes Ridge up on the North Mid-Atlantic. We have a 4.5 out there, just below Greenland. Then over here in Greenland, we've got another earthquake here, a couple of them, in fact. So we had a 5 over there on the Reykjanes Ridge, and then in southern Greenland, we have a 4.6 and a 4.3 in southern Greenland today. We haven't had any earthquakes in Greenland for quite some time. And like I said, over here in the Reykjanes Ridge, we had that 4.5 and we had this 5.0. 2 earthquakes there, one a foreshock and one large earthquake there in Reykjanes Ridge. It rolls. All right, let's go over to the United States. Let's go to the United States. Washington. Okay, we have nothing going on over at Queen Charlotte's Island today. It's quiet. Vancouver Island, it's quiet there. Doggone it, did her to me again. Okay, here. We have activity. Come on, you crazy thing. We have activity over here in southern Alaska along this Cook Inlet here. Cook Inlet. Nothing around Mount Redoubt, nothing. It's all in the Cook Inlet here, going up into Anchorage. We have swarms at Anchorage, around Anchorage, okay? Nothing really in Anchorage itself. Out in the bay, just south there, 14 miles west of Anchorage, we have a 1.0 here, 1.0 there, and a 1.1 over here, 26 miles west of Anchorage, okay? And then swarms going up to Big Lake, going all the way up to where? Where is this? Up near Mount McKinley, okay? Nothing at Mount McKinley, but they're all over the northern part of the park. Northern part of Denali. Here is Anchorage here, but they're all here north of there, okay? Huge swarm today, 1.2, 1.1, 1.9, 1.8, 1.4. And I didn't hit all of them, but that's all they are, a bunch of ones, all over Denali National Park. Going north of Denali, we still have a small swarm there, okay? North of Denali, 1.7, 0.9, 0.7, 0.5, just representative of what's happening there. Kobuk, Alaska, where we had a 6.3, had a 6.3 here last year. We have a 1.3, 1.3, and a 1.0. Two 1.3s right together, and then that 1.0 right there. Now remember what I said about earthquakes right next to each other? Two 1.3s, okay? Doubling up earthquakes right next to each other, okay? Again, another day with no earthquakes above the Arctic Circle. Nothing above the Arctic Circle. Let's drop down to Washington. Let's see what's happening in Washington State. Ashford, Washington, southwest of the volcano, Mount Rainier. This one is 0.83. Over at this other volcano, can you guess what this is? Amboy, Washington. Amboy, Washington. 3 earthquakes in the crater of Mount St. Helens. 3 earthquakes in Mount St. Helens crater. Minus 0.13, 0.03, and a 0.27 in the crater, the summit of Mount St. Helens. They say Mount St. Helens isn't doing anything. 3 minor earthquakes in Mount St. Helens. Why do you think it's steaming? Because that magma is hitting that plug of the volcano. That's what's going on. Then let's go down south, Oregon, Bend, Oregon. We have another 2.17. The second time we've had an earthquake at Bend, Oregon this week. 2.17 in Bend. Let's go over to Idaho, to the western side of the Yellowstone magma chamber. Huge swarm again. Challis, Idaho, Cascade, Idaho. Huge swarm. From the north, 2.8, 3.16. 2.8 up here, 3.16. Going south, 2.95, 1.7, 2.2, or 2.0, I should say. Okay. Going south, 2.28, 1.88, 2.79. Center of the swarm, 2.79. And it goes south, 3.0. Small quake there, the others are minor quakes. 2.7, 2.7. This is interesting. Another 2.7 earthquakes. Same location. Same location. 3.0 just to the west, east of there. Going south, 2.52, 2.39, 2.69, 2.0. This is the western end of the Yellowstone magma chamber. Huge swarm of earthquakes. Again, there was a 6.7 here just a couple weeks ago. 6.7 there. Over in Yellowstone itself, let's go up to the northern parts of the magma chamber. Polson, Montana, 0.35. Polson, Montana, south of there, 0.33 in Roman, Montana. Steely Lake, 0.4. Let's go south, folks. South. Boulder, Montana, 2.8 and 0.85. 2.8, 0.85 in Boulder, Montana. Let's go over here to Butte, Montana. We have a 1.75 in Butte. These are in the Yellowstone magma chamber, folks. Here is one in Yellowstone itself. This is a minus 0.04 above sea level. 0.04 above sea level in Yellowstone. Let's go south, folks. Can you say Salt Lake City, Utah today? Salt Lake City, Utah today. Magna, Utah. Start over here in Magna, Utah. Right here was the epicenter. This is just north of the epicenter. This was a 0.25. Okay, but let's go down here and see what happened here. Okay, 0.3, 0.55, 1.8, 2.76. 2.76 in Magna. In fact, we have two 2.76. That's interesting. That's interesting. 0.72 and a 0.93 in Magna. All near the epicenter. All near the epicenter. But there's one that goes over to where? It goes over towards the Wasatch Fault. This is in Salt Lake City. This is actually in Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City. I'm trying to pinpoint the exact location here so I can tell you. It's in central downtown. It's right smack dab in the center of Salt Lake City. Isn't that interesting? All I can say is wow. Right smack dab in the center of Salt Lake City. The Wasatch Mountains are right here, and this is right smack dab in the center of Salt Lake City. .44 magnitude earthquake. Minor earthquake, very minor earthquake, but it's right smack dab in the center of Salt Lake. That's what happens. We have 10 plus earthquakes in Salt Lake. And guess what? Remember Milford, Utah? The Black Rock Desert volcano? Swarm City today. Black Rock Desert volcano, Milford, Utah. 0.32, 0.66, minus 0.07, 0.47. Actually, that's a 2.47. 2.47 and a bunch of minor earthquakes on top of that. Black Rock Desert volcano. Gosh, that's wild. That's really wild. And you can see the magma here. You can see the magma here in various places. Wow. In fact, here is an eroded crater. There's an eroded crater right there near Milford, Utah. I was just trying to find, because I was out in the same area, folks, prospecting for little buried insects, trilobites, little trilobites. I was out prospecting there about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. And I was just looking for the roadway that leads into this area because it's right in the middle, the center of the volcano. Here's the roadway. It's near where we were. That's about as close as I can pick to where we were. There's a bunch of shale deposit, a lot of shale deposit out there. And that's where we picked up, that's where I picked up these rock. But you can see the area of the crater, the Black Rock Desert volcano. But all these swarm of earthquakes is right near there, just south and east of there. Just want to show you that. Just wanted to show you that. Then we go over to Boulder City, Nevada, a 2.0. Boulder City. The geysers was reporting 1.68 earthquake at the geysers. going here, going down here, Sunol, California, just northeast of San Francisco, is 0.92 Sunol. South of there, over by the Pinnacles, a 2.33. That's a volcanic area as well as a oil and gas operation. Just south of Monterey Bay at Point Sur, we have a 2.38 magnitude earthquake just south of Monterey Bay. You can see Monterey Bay right there. And Point Sur is just south of Monterey Bay. The Pinnacles again got hit 2.31. Parkfield, California, we talked about. It's a 1.57 earthquake in Parkfield. We showed you that on that seismogram. We, up here in the, this is Bodie, California, where you saw all those earthquakes. Okay, Mono Lake, that's where the swarm of earthquakes is, just east of Mono Lake. Then we go down to, what is this? Mammoth Mountain. Look at the earthquakes at Mammoth. All over the place. Yesterday we didn't have any. Now they're all over. 0.26, 0.56, 0.47, 1.72, 0.28, 0.40, 0.21. Minor earthquakes all over Mammoth today. Literally all over Mammoth. Dropping further south. Oh, doggone it. I hate it when it does that. Okay, Olancha, California, 65 miles north of Ridgecrest. We have a 2.65. 2.65 over here at Olancha, California. Just south of there, Cozo Junction, 1.17, 0.71. And then we have a huge swarm of earthquakes all over the Mojave Desert. Okay, Little Lake, California, they have a bunch of them, 9 earthquakes out there, and then it goes all the way down to Searles Valley and Ridgecrest. 1.82 in Ridgecrest, 1.11 in Ridgecrest, Searles Valley, Ridgecrest, swarming. Johannesburg, California, over on the north side, the northeast side of the Garlock Fault. Johannesburg is a 1.12 earthquake. Over at the south end of the Garlock, Mojave, California, a 1.12 earthquake. Going down here to the San Andreas Fault again, Wrightwood, California, 1.07. South again, Calamasa, California, going over into Anza Gap. Calamasa, California, 0.99. These up north of there, Big Bear Lake, California, 0.73 and a 1.62. Big Bear Lake, California. Anza Gap, folks, look at what's happening down northeast San Diego, California. Anza Gap is swarming. Val Vista, 0.83, 0.45 Anza, going into San Diego County, 0.07. We have a good sized swarm there. Have like 40 earthquakes here in the Anza Borrego State Park. Anza Borrego still swarming, folks. It's still swarming. Going over here into San Diego, Lake Henshaw, my fishing spot east of Escondido, a 0.75 earthquake, just east of Escondido. Then over into San Diego, Coronado Island, 0.87 today. Coronado Island is 0.87. And actually, it's in San Diego. Coronado is right here. This is a Navy base, Naval Station Coronado. This is over in San Diego. Okay, it's just across the bay from there. It says it's in Coronado, but it's not. Isn't that funny? It's across the bay. In fact, it's over, folks, this earthquake is over by San Diego International Airport. There's a runway. That's a San Diego International Airport runway, the main runway. Wow, isn't that interesting? That's really wild. So now you saw it. Now you saw it. I was going to show you if I can locate it here. If I can find it here. Here's my old police station. There's my old police station, San Diego. Now you've seen it. That's where I used to work. Memories, memories. So San Diego got hit by an earthquake and they blamed it on Coronado. Wasn't Coronado. Wasn't Coronado. But you can see the earthquakes up here in the Anza Gap. There's about 40 of them. They said 20 plus. It's a lot more than that. It's like 40 earthquakes in the Anza Gap. Going down here towards the Salton Sea, Ocotillo, California, a 1.57. And that's the only one even near the Salton Sea today. Nothing else even close. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. We're already past time here. We're already past time. It's already 8:22 p.m. I'm going to wrap this thing up rather quickly here. Mentone, Texas, a 2.50 Mentone, Texas today. Middle of the oil fields. Let's go over here to Oklahoma. Oklahoma, Moreland, Oklahoma, 1.31. 1.31. Enid, Oklahoma, 1.79. Just north of there was a 1.70. Let's go down south. Two more. Stillwater, Oklahoma, 1.0. And south of there over in Hurrah, Oklahoma, 1.72 in Hurrah, Oklahoma. Okay, we got to wrap it up here pretty quickly. Nothing over here on the eastern side of the United States, not a thing. It's all quiet in the east. We saw on the seismograms, we saw the earthquakes around I can't remember. That blows my mind. This is the Dominican Republic. I'm sorry. A bunch of earthquakes around the Dominican Republic. We saw these on the seismogram. Over here in Puerto Rico, southwestern Puerto Rico, we're still seeing earthquakes there. Still seeing earthquakes there. Over near the Cayman Ridge, north of western Puerto Rico. Oh, come on. We're still seeing earthquakes there. A 2.70 near where that 6.3 hit just before, well, actually hit right as Hurricane Maria was coming into Puerto Rico. 6.3, and now we have a 2.70 out there. And just north of the inlet going between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic, we have 9 earthquakes there, and all of these are just minor earthquakes and small 3.7, 3.11, 1.38, 3.07, just small earthquakes over there. Okay. 3.4 on the south end of the bay. 3.3. Just quiet over there. Fairly quiet, just small earthquakes. Anyway, that's what our story is today, folks. Yes, we took a long time, and I'm sorry to take all of your time, but I wanted to show you what is going on in the United States and all over the world. We showed you seismograms just like we said we would. We want to make sure everybody is aware of what's going on. We will be back if anything else happens tonight. Hopefully it won't. It'll stay quiet because the last 2 days was crazy. Nothing but 4s and 5s and a 6. Hopefully it'll be quiet. Linda says she's multitasking this evening. That's wonderful. Tilo, thank you for being here. Susie, everybody, Pamela, thank you for being here. God bless. Do know that we love you, and we'll be back again, like I said, if anything else happens. Yes, I'm going to go get some rest. I'm kind of tired. It's been a long day. Hope you have a great one, folks. God bless. Do know that we love you, like I said. And as Walter Cronkite has said, and that's the way it is. Friday, April 17th. 2020. For Emergency Management Associates and for everyone here, have a great night. See you soon, folks. Thank you so much, folks. Good night, everybody.